another thing about the characters here. What did you guys think when they went from Shang Tsung to Shao Kahn? I always thought that was one of the best upgrades that you can get when it comes to villains.
Yeah, I think so too. I thought they were both good. I like how they made Shang Tsung a playable character in number 2, and then they introduced Shao Kahn. I think Shao Kahn's a good villain.
He's badass looking, at the very least.
Mm-hmm. Shao Kahn is on steroids.
Well, aren't they all?
Yeah, to be fair.
No, they've been tested, dude. They've passed all the tests, okay? Just like
Mortal Kombat wellness policy.
Before they start doing the tournament, it's like...
Yeah, if they do another live action movie, I would like to see Triple H as Shao Kahn. That would be pretty cool.
I'd love to see that backstage stuff. They're getting ready. They're like, all right, you got your swords, you got your spikes, your chains with the fucking magic flames at the end of it and all this kind of crap. But you did test a little bit high for certain levels of some different medication. And we don't think that you can really participate. This has got to be a fair, even tournament where people can decapitate each other. And
he's cool, but he's kind of a splinter, or not a splinter. Oh God, why am I blanking? The Teenage
Shredder.
Shredder. He's a Shredder ripoff, though, isn't he? I mean, who came first?
Kinda, yeah.
It had to be Shredder.
Yeah, Shredder had to come first.
I mean, and then because somebody had mentioned Triple H or WWE, and that reminds me, because NetherRealm, the studios who did the 2 newest Mortal Kombats, they also did Injustice God Among Us, and they did that WWE Immortals game, which is basically the Mortal Kombat for the WWE. Has anybody played that?
Immortal Kombat. You might as well have just called it.
Yeah, WWE Immortal Kombat.
Not a chance in the world that I would
play
that game.
It looked interesting. I'm like, oh, wait, it's only an app on your phone? Fuck that.
There's certain characters in WWE that you could take in that direction. Undertaker, Kane.
Right.
Fucking Kazarni, even. But when you start trying to make it seem like John Cena could be a Mortal fucking Kombat character, you lost me a little bit.
Yeah, it's a bit of a stretch.
I don't want to see somebody who looks like they could fight Shao Kahn and somebody who's The Miz.
See, The Miz would be great as Johnny Cage.
Yeah.
I can see that. Fair enough. So I'm looking through the list of the characters here. A lot of them, they just seem like they're repeats and stuff. This is one of those series where they've got far too many characters than what they really need. Kind of like the X-Men. There's got to be 50 characters now.
Yeah, and their powers get really cheesy, and it's why does the guy need to shoot spikes out of his fingertips? That's his mutant power, or somebody else's. They get kind of watered down after a certain point.
Yeah, how many generic ninja people, like you mentioned before? How many of them do you really need? You've got more than enough.
Oh, they can change their colors, though.
Yeah, I was going to say, how many
yellow,
colors we got
another
left?
guy's blue, and another guy's green.
Sub-Zero, Reptile, Scorpion, Emrak, Soulbot. You got Robot Smoke, you got the red robot, the yellow robot, you got Reptile. That's 10.
You know who was actually kind of cool design back in the day that I thought that was a step in the right direction? Baraka.
I like Baraka.
Baraka's awesome, yeah.
Didn't like him in X-Men Origins Wolverine, though.
Beat me to it.
But yeah, I mean, they've got some awesome characters, and it seems like it kind of boils down to the same core group. I mean, obviously, you've got your Scorpion, your Sub-Zero, your Johnny Cage, your Liu Kang. A lot of the originals are the ones that are going to stick around forever, but... what's up with this, the daughter of Johnny Cage and Sonya? Is that going to be a character that they really, focus a lot on in the future, you think? Or is it going to be just somebody who they kind of brush aside? Is her name Cassie, I think?
Cassie.
Yeah, Cassie Cage.
I think she's going to be a major character just because of all this backlash this one UFC star is doing. She's apparently suing the creators of Mortal Kombat because of her likeness.
Does she actually look like her?
She does, but then what do you expect when you post a selfie a minute on your Instagram post?
Well, it's better to look like that than to look like what was it, Molinar with the fucked up face?
I can't remember what UFC fighter it is, but it's nobody relevant. She's just there trying to get her name. So
We're gonna
it's
get
like
China.
Lohan trying to sue GTA for the studio.
I have a question for you guys. You all probably know the games better than I do, but there are certain, I don't know, theories or whatever, that certain characters in the game are just fundamentally better, no matter what. Like if you fight, Cabal versus Liu Kang this many times out of 100 times, so and so is going to win, a disproportionate amount of battles. Do you think that's true, or are they all equal and it just depends on the player?
I think it has a lot to do with who they're up against. So while, a certain matchup, Sub-Zero might, win, 60% of the battles against one character, against another character, maybe less. So not really like a rock, paper, scissors kind of thing, but I think certain characters definitely have advantages over other characters.
I would assume, like, the moveset is a real big determiner, because if you're somebody like I always was when it comes to this kind of stuff, I'm a real cheap, pain in the ass type of player. Like the whole, I'll sit there and block, and then I'll do the little tiny kicks and stuff like that. If you try to do like with Sub-Zero, you stand far away, you freeze, and then you go up and uppercut the person and freeze and uppercut, whatever. If you got a character that's slow and can't avoid that as much, then that'll be a lot easier. But if you got some fast one that's flipping around like crazy, then it's a lot harder to be able to fight in that kind of style. But then that depends on the player too, because I guess if you're good enough, you can figure out a way to get around that. I wouldn't be surprised though if some of them are just like structurally better.
Yeah.
Maybe some of them like take hits a little bit more or something. Like, you get like a Goro, and it's like you punch them a standard punch. Maybe it only does like
3% damage. Yeah.
Yeah. Then you punch Sonya, and you are Goro, and it's like 5 times as much or something.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
There's got to be some variations in there. They can't make them all the same, or it would be boring to play as well.
Yeah, plus if you look at somebody like Jax, who's got those fucking Winter Soldier arms, you got to assume he's punching a lot better than Johnny Cage.
Yeah. So maybe he's a little slower, so that kind of, it balances it out,
Right. I don't know. If anybody knows about that, leave a comment below if you've done the research and checked the coding and all that other kind of stuff.
The power ranking.
Yeah, I'm sure that they did their extensive testing as far as making sure the game and the characters are balanced, and especially now with with the newer versions where they're able to do patches on it. They can nerf somebody if they need to. They can boost somebody. So I think because with the older games you got what you got and that was it. But now if they find out that somebody has a certain advantage over everybody else, and they can sort of change that in the coding with updated patches and whatnot.
One thing we haven't talked about yet is actually a pretty big part of the series, and that's the hidden content, all the different Easter eggs that they've been doing over the years. We did mention Ermac. That was not supposed to be an Easter egg, but it became one, which is very odd. But the Toasty thing is one of the most popular.
Yeah, doesn't it look like Michael Keaton to anybody else? It looks like Michael Keaton to me.
Let me look that up now.
I
I'm
never
totally
thought
curious.
that. No, let's see. I haven't seen him in a while.
Maybe it's been a long time, but that's in my brain. That's what I picture.
Whilst you guys are looking that up, any of you watch this White Ranger versus Scorpion thing on YouTube?
Oh, that's actually, what's the channel that does that? I wanted to give them a shout out actually.
I have no idea, but I'm watching it now. It's a re-upload. Probably the one with the 7 million hits, yeah. It's Bait in the Sun, I think.
Bat in the Sun, yeah. Bat in the Sun does really cool fight choreography between different characters and stuff. Like they'll have, they did one with Casey Jones against somebody, can't remember who. Like they do like superheroes and stuff. Batman versus Darth Vader was one of them.
Casey Jones from Ninja Turtles?
Yeah. So they take like two different characters from pop culture and they compare them, like who would win in a fight between Captain America and Ryu or something like that. So if you are a fan of the Mortal Kombat kind of stuff like that, definitely check out Bat in the Sun. I'm looking up the toasty guy right now. I'm not really seeing Michael Keaton, but he looks like some kid that I used to know in elementary school. He's got the same haircut at the very least.
It's disappointing because the toasty guy isn't in Mortal Kombat 10. If
Really?
he is, I haven't seen him.
He should be a fucking character that you fight with.
Well, he throws bread salad at you.
Oh, well, it says here one of Cassie Cage's fatalities in Mortal Kombat 10 is for taking the selfie with the opponent, posting it on friendship social media. One of her friends is Dan Forden in his toasty pose. I'm reading that off the wiki. So I guess he does make an appearance. He doesn't like pop up in the corner and do the thing, but I guess he is included slightly in the game.
That's a way to do it at the very least. But they've had this. I don't even remember. I'm looking at this right now. Frugality.
You got fatalities, Babality. There's another one. There's so many fatalities, but my favorite one is the Babality, where they turn them into babies.
What's Frugality?
So where they bring out a member of the Black Eyed Peas.
Oh God, that's a torture worse
It's
than
when
death.
they turn them into a furry.
And she sings My Humps until they kill themselves.
It's something called Dad's Code, which changes the names of the characters to some people in some comedy show.
Okay. My favorite has always been Friendship. That's always my favorite.
Oh, that's hilarious. Yeah.
Friendship is funny.
Don't you like give them a flower or something like that, or like?
Yeah, the different guys have different ones. I can give you a flower or a birthday cake or what was it? Liu Kang did like a disco dance in one of them, and I mean there's a whole bunch of different friendships, but those are always my favorite because it's you beat the shit out of somebody and then you give them a flower or
It makes up for it. But they did some really cool things with that, secret characters in the games and references to other things and stuff like that. Jade is another character that is a hidden character in one of the games, comes back a little bit, or actually is like introduced properly in a future one. I always thought that was cool because not enough games do that kind of stuff. Smoke, there's another one, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Huh. Ermac is probably the coolest out of all of them though, because it's just when you take an actual error screen and that becomes a character, that's crazy. It's one thing to have the glitch that you can get around and you can beat a character by pressing a certain code or something like that, but when you get like Ermac, the only other one that's close to that I can think of is Missing No from Pokemon.
Oh yeah.
Which he should have became an actual character too. But as far as the games go, the movies, the TV show, the YouTube series, all that other kind of stuff, what would you guys say? We're going to kind of wrap this up a little bit, go around in a circle. What would you say is your favorite part about the Mortal Kombat franchise? Ronnie, I'm going to start with you.
Oh, don't start with me.
Too bad.
My favorite part of the franchise, I mean, for me, it's just all about the games. I've just started playing Mortal Kombat X, and I'm really, I've been more excited about this one than I have about any Mortal Kombat games, in recent memory. Mortal Kombat 9 was good, but this one seems like it's really awesome, and I think that, for me, is just what everything is all about.
Will, what about you?
I would say the characters and their distinctiveness. Liu Kang is kind of the hero, and he's got his little flying bicycle kick, and then of course Raiden, who I love, has got the lightning, and they all kind of and of course we talked about Sub-Zero and Freezing and Scorpion and Get Over Here, all those little distinctive flavors that each character has. That's cool. It's fun. You're you get excited. Oh, I get to play Liu Kang now, and then you get sick of it, and then you play a different character, and that's what really makes it fun, and that's the replayability of the games makes it great.
Shaun?
The fact that it's not Tekken. And the fatalities. I'm always a fan of blood and gore, and the thing I can tell you why I'm not a fan of it, because it broke 3 controllers that I used to have for the Xbox 360 when Mortal Kombat 9 came out.
And this is out
Why'd
of
you break them?
frustration or what?
Too much button pressing on the D-pad. And one time I lost a fight and I kind of threw the controller and it shattered into a million pieces. But you know, it happens when you rage on video games.
Yeah, that'll happen when you chuck something that's not supposed to be chucked. Calen, what about you?
One of my favorite things about it, and you know, they can do it now with, you can go online and you can, you know, match up against random people anywhere in the world. But my favorite thing, I think, ever about Mortal Kombat is, especially Mortal Kombat 1 and 2, is going to an arcade, you know, when they actually have a machine at an arcade, and putting in your money and playing against total strangers there in public. You know, that's what I would do with the first two. I would go to either this bowling alley or this arcade by my house, and on a Saturday night, you know, spend 4 hours playing different games, but mostly that one. And, you know, you put your quarter on the thing, wait for the next person. And, you know, there'd be people who could just sweep and dominate everybody. If you won, you got to stay. If you lost, you had to, you know, go next in line. And I learned so much, made a lot of good friends that way. And I just thought that was a really cool time, going into the arcade in the, you know, the early to mid 90s, and just putting my quarter on the machine and waiting my turn, and then getting my ass kicked in 30 seconds and then waiting another 15 minutes to play. I learned a lot.
I gotta say, the thing that I identify the most with the Mortal Kombat franchise is the fact that they try a little harder to make it a mythology. Instead of just having like a Tekken kind of thing where it's like, well, are you going to play as this ninja guy or this ninja guy or this karate guy or that guy? And they all look exactly the same. This actually, even though a lot of characters do look the same, they do try to make it a little bit different. I mean, the very first game, obviously, if you were somebody who liked ninjas, you could play as Scorpion or Sub-Zero. If you liked the whole thing that Raiden has going on, then you've got that guy, you've got the weird monster and Goro, and you've got the generic, like, regular people with Johnny Cage and Sonya and Liu Kang, and I always like that kind of aspect, and the fact that they keep bringing in new versions of characters. Like, even though I'm not a big fan of the robots, the idea that they brought in cyborgs is like, well, that's a different thing. And then you got Jax with these, you know, fucking weird arms, and Baraka.
Sexuality.
So I always like that. I haven't been able to get too much into the actual story, if not just because of timing purposes and the fact that there's so many goddamn games and stuff, but I think that they try a little harder to do that, and that's appreciated a lot more than if you're just, you know, like, I guess Tekken is probably the best way to compare it to, because you go to an arcade and you play Tekken and you're just pressing a bunch of buttons. There's no, like, you know, the backgrounds are just like a karate dojo and stuff, and never was a fan of that kind of stuff because I'm not as big on the actual fighting games themselves. So it needed something else to kind of draw me in. And similar to a Street Fighter, you know, they've got their superhero kind of gimmicks, and this one sort of does too. So that always seemed kind of interesting to me. Clearly, my favorite part is not the movies. Be very hard pressed to find somebody who does say that. But I think that'll wrap us up about the Mortal Kombat franchise. Tell us what you guys think about this in the comments below, and you know, what your favorite parts are, your least favorite parts, your favorite characters, that kind of stuff. We're going to go around the table one more time here and do some plugs. Shaun, start us off. What do you want to plug?
Well, I have this Mortal Kombat Blu-ray that I'm trying to sell. So, hit me up.
$50 for best offer. It's a collector's, isn't it?
No.
There can't be that many that people have sold.
Yeah. There's probably like a back catalogue somewhere in a warehouse just unsold shit. Either that or they buried it with the ET video games.
Yeah, but they just dug up the ET games. So maybe they'll find some of those Blu-rays.
Uh-oh. Maybe that's the plot of the next Indiana Jones movie. Indiana Jones in the shitty film and game.
Yeah.
So you're going to be doing any Mortal Kombat on Twitch?
Nope.
No.
It's kind of iffy.
What is your Twitch account, by the way?
Twitch.com. Twitch.com. It's not Twitch.com. It's twitch.tv/Shaughnessy1989.
anything planned for that one coming up soon?
Maybe a Saturday.
All right, go check that out. Saturday. If you're watching this 2 months from now, go check it out 2 months ago.
Yeah. If not, it'll be on my YouTube, which is youtube.com/ShaunC1989 as well. So I'm thereabouts. Twitter is Twitter, you know. Some bitch took that Twitter handle, so that's ShaunC2K37. Or on the Facebook, which is facebook.com/HappyPubGaming Productions.
I think that rounds out your plugs, right? I don't think we're forgetting any.
Well, I'll plug your asshole for Seth Rollins.
Oh. Shit just
Ronnie, anything you want to plug?
I will plug my pending pharmacy license, so come get your prescriptions filled with me.
Congratulations.
Thank you. That's
Can
about
I get
it.
things that aren't actual prescriptions?
We can talk about those when I'm not at work.
Says the guy who doesn't even drink or anything. Of course, I'm going to go for that, right?
Oh yeah.
I'm like, I don't think I want to take any more Tylenol. That's enough.
No, Tony, goddammit, you will take all this Tylenol. Trust
Pull
me.
a Dr. Cox, just throw it in his mouth.
And whatever sticks, that's the correct dosage.
Dr. Cox. Awesome doctor. Will, anything you want to plug?
Yeah, thanks. I have a new novel series out. It's called Murder Haven. You can find it on Amazon.
I would love to live in that town.
Right, right. It's fantasy, but it's kind of crime as well, fantasy crime. I would describe it as Game of Thrones meets The Sopranos. There are currently 5
system.
right now. Like I said, you can find them on Amazon. The 6th one will be out as soon as I get it back from the publisher and they, put it through the editing cycle. That one should be out in a couple months. And then I'm writing for a web series called Buff Cafe. Buff Cafe exists right now. You can find it on YouTube, but we're kind of revamping it. We've got a new executive producer involved, and it's kind of a soft reboot, and we're kind of redoing the whole thing. So I'm writing episodes for that.
And Calen, round us out here.
You can follow me on the Twitter at Calen Ferris, where I post very rarely. I was planning on posting last night several times during this special pay-per-view we're watching, but I ended up not. So, but you can follow me at Calen Ferris, and there you go.
All right, guys. And from my side of things, of course, just check out everything else coming your way from fanboysanonymous.com. We've got the Review Point podcast. Going to try to get one of those up for Avengers Age of Ultron. Beforehand, we're going to try to do a For Real Movie Club about Phase 2 to follow up with our Phase 1 For Real Movie Club. We've got the Fan Tracks podcast. I'm hoping to get some of them up soon. Not too sure about what, though. So if you have any suggestions, leave those in the comments below of what you'd like to see us do, or actually hear us do audio commentary for. And we've got the Dace Man show. We've got, there's so many different podcasts and stuff. The Press Start crew is working on a lot of different things, so they might be popping up here and there. For the wrestling side of things, if you are interested in WWE, and that's pretty much it, because all the other companies kind of suck. Go to smarkoutmoment.com and check out the podcast that we do there at Monday Night Raw post show, which we're going to be doing in about 10 hours from here, immediately following the Monday Night Raw show. That's kind of the point. That's why it's a post show. We've got the Smack Talk podcast, which you can find the same way you can find everything else: iTunes, Stitcher, and YouTube. And the All Talk show, which isn't wrestling related. It's actually nothing related. It's whatever the hell we decide to talk about, which tends to be a lot of nonsense. And if we get the callers and the people in the chat to give suggestions, it tends to be porn. So shout out to, I think it was Tyler 2 episodes ago or something. That's just like, I want to talk more about porn.
Shout out to Bubba from the Backwoods.
Yeah, Bubba from the Backwoods, who, if we say that we talk about nonsense, he takes it to a brand new level in the chat. But I think that will do us in for group meeting episode number 18. This meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everybody on the podcast. Thank you, everybody listening. And for everybody else who could not be here, I am Tony Mango. We will see you next time, everybody. Adios.